Introduce myself. I will start with Kayla. If you can introduce yourself, Kayla.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla Schultz. I'm a current student at CSU. I'm studying civil engineering, and I've done 5 years, and so I'm in my 5th and final year, about to graduate in May. And I chose civil engineering because I really liked math and science, and I love problem solving and challenging myself, and civil engineering just has so many applications. It's a really cool program to be in.
Dr. Carlson, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, I'm Ken Carlson. I'm a professor in civil and environmental. My focus is environmental engineering. And so right now I'm teaching the freshman courses. We have an intro to civil and environmental for both the fall and the spring of your freshman year here. And I teach the environmental section. Tom Siller, who couldn't make it today, teaches the civil section, but we come together because it's a department of civil and environmental. But my specialty is environmental. I've been at CSU for 21 years, 22 years, and maybe 23. And so I'm always available for, you can look me up. My email is kenc@colohstate.edu. If you have questions about the program, I'm certainly willing to answer them, and I can answer them today also.
Thank you. Thank you. Claire?
Yeah, good morning, you guys. Hope everyone's having a nice morning so far. My name is Claire. I am a 2nd year in environmental engineering here at Colorado State University. It's been awesome so far. I still am trying to think about what I kind of want to specialize in later in my career, but I'm really interested in water quality right now.
Thank you, Claire. It looks like I'm just going to kind of go across the pictures that I see. Sharon?
Hi, my son is Benji, and he is on a different computer, but he's in school, so he can't talk today.
Okay, all right. So you're just here to get some info. That's great. I love it.
Yep.
It's great to have a solid support team, that's for sure. It looks like Christy?
Yes, my son Dominic DiCiato is who I'm on for, and he also is in school, so I'm just writing down some information, and glad to hear that it's being video recorded, right? So we can listen to it later, he can?
Yep, absolutely. I'm not entirely sure when the link will come out, but you will, I'm sure, get an email of some sort letting you know that the links are available to view the actual recordings.
Great, perfect, thank you.
Yeah, sure, thanks for being here. Ridley?
Hi, my name's Ridley. I'm really interested in the environment, and I'm really interested in problem solving and application of solutions and how you can design things to kind of support and solve problems. So yeah.
Great, thanks for being here. It looks like we have Nolan.
Hi, my name is Nolan, and I'm just pretty interested in civil engineering.
Okay, all right. Aiden. Okay. Oh,
Hi.
Aiden, hi.
Hi, I'm Aiden. I'm still trying to discover what I'm interested in, so I'm just here to listen in and see what it's all about.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. Drew?
Hi, my name is Drew. I was interested in civil engineering because I grew up in several different areas of the US, so like middle of nowhere, Kansas, all the way to Colorado, and now I'm kind of in a little place in right by St. Louis. And I was really just interested in transportation and the design of different neighborhoods and places, I guess.
Okay.
And will the link of the recording be sent out to everybody? Because I have to leave in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, yes, it's going to be on, I believe it'll be on the college's website.
Awesome, thank
you. So
you.
Everyone will have access to that. But thank you for being here. It looks like Ian.
Yeah, my name's Ian, and I've always been like interested in problem solving and like, just watching like construction and civil engineering.
Great, great. And it looks like we did see Benji has joined us. Benji, do you want to introduce yourself?
He can't because he's
Okay.
in class.
Okay, sorry.
He's,
Oliver?
He is a senior and is pretty interested in like bridge design and architecture type things.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Sharon. Oliver, do you want to introduce yourself?
Looks like we have Oliver in the chat sharing that he is interested in environmental engineering, but his computer does not have audio.
Oh,
He's still
thank you.
figuring it out.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Let's see, we have Jenna. Okay, that's okay, Jenna. Bozeman 12. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, that's okay too. Dr. Shackelford, he is our department head. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello.
Love your background.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Who can guess what that background is? Any ideas?
It looks like Ireland.
Yeah, I got that guess earlier. That's wrong though.
Okay, great.
Scotland?
Scotland, yeah. And what's that in the background?
Oh, the Loch Ness Monster.
This is Loch Ness, yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days when you could actually travel, you know. So anyways, yeah, my name's Chuck Shackford. I'm the department head. I've been on the faculty here at CSU for this past January. It was marked my 33rd year, and I've been department head for 7.5 years now. And if I actually live that long, I got another 3.5 years to go in that job. We'll see how that goes. And I'd like to welcome everybody. We have a fantastic department. You know, of course, we have 2 undergraduate degrees, environmental and civil engineering. About 35% of our students are environmental engineering majors, and the other are civil. And a really positive trend is in the last 2 or 3 years, the incoming classes have been almost split. In fact, I think this past fall was probably 49% environmental and 51% civil. So as those students propagate through the degree programs, our overall percentage, obviously, of environmental relative to civil will increase in the program. We have a large undergraduate program. I think last I looked, which is last year, we were the 8th largest department undergraduate program on campus out of more than 50. And we have had in the last 2 or 3 years over 600 undergraduate students. Prior to about, we've become very popular in the last 3 or 4 years. So early in my department head tenure, we were in the mid 400s, 400 to 440 to 480. And then we shot up over a 3-year period to over 600. And so that's got to do with probably several factors, one of which is, the job market for our degree programs is pretty strong, and it's probably going to get stronger with the infrastructure bill if that ever comes to fruition. And we have a very strong, this may not interest many of you who are going for your first degree, but we have a very strong research program in our department. We're known internationally for many of our programs, and our faculty are known. And the nice thing about that is our faculty will hire undergrad students during the semester, or they limit the amount of time because of their workload, probably to 5 hours or less, but they also hire them in the summer. And so, a lot of our students get hired by faculty in the summer to work on some of the research projects. And you get exposed to some of the really exciting activity that our department faculty are involved with. We also are one of the top research departments on campus and in the college. It probably doesn't mean a lot to you, but our faculty are generating more than $14 million in research expenditures every year. And our faculty, by the way, including me, we're 34 faculty, of which Right now we have 3 non-tenure track teaching faculty who are dedicated to teaching our undergraduate courses. One of those is an environmental engineering faculty who teaches our junior and senior level courses focused in environmental engineering. And we're in the process actually this week and last week interviewing another non-tenure track faculty who's dedicated to our undergraduate program. And so we had, I could go on, but we have a very, very good, I'll mention one more thing. The state engineer, so Colorado has what's called a state engineer that runs all of the state engineering projects. A lot of them are water related. The state engineer has been one of our grads for the last 15 years. And we have an extremely strong reputation in the state of Colorado primarily with practitioners. We have a really applied undergraduate engineering degree program, and it's extremely popular with employers. That's one reason the job market's good as well. So I'll leave it with that. Again, we have a really great department, great students, great faculty, and obviously living in Fort Collins, I don't know where everybody's from, but I've lived all over the country, San Francisco, Orlando, Austin. This is a fantastic place to live. So a lot of things to do here. So Shannon, that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, speaking of fantastic places to live, I just let my dog outside before the meeting, and it was snowing and the sun was shining. So as far as places to live, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I thank you for explaining everything and introducing yourself, Dr. Shackelford. I appreciate that. Kayla, would you mind just kind of explaining? So we have, currently we have 5 student ambassadors that represent the the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. We hired 3 that were training this semester because 2 of them are graduating this May. And so we have this program that the ambassadors are available to students of all levels, freshmen through seniors, and they provide tutoring, direction, resources, advice, sometimes a shoulder to listen to cry on if you need to. And they also have a mentoring program. And so, yes, so I'm sorry, Kayla, I kind of just explained the whole thing. But if you want to go into a little more detail, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. So I am one of the department student ambassadors. So I work for the Civil and Environmental Engineering Department. Claire, who's on this call as well, is also one. We just hired Claire. And as department student ambassadors, we have an office that's in the main Civil and Environmental Engineering office. And we're really focused on current students and trying to make sure that you all have the resources and the help that you need to succeed, especially in your first couple years. So we have office hours throughout the year, and you can pop in, and if you need help on physics, math, chemistry, those basic, undergrad or underclassmen level classes, we're more than happy to help with those. We also know the curriculum pretty well, and we've been through the curriculum. And so if you have questions about what classes you need to take or how you want to arrange your schedule, that's something that we're available for as well. And then something that we've been growing, as Shannon said, is our mentoring program. So we are looking at, really anyone can participate in it. Right now, it's primarily first and second year students, but you'll get paired with one of us. College is really, it's a lot. It can be overwhelming, and it's a lot to navigate, especially those first couple years. And so through this mentoring program, you'd get paired with one of us, and we can meet. Some of my mentees and we meet pretty frequently, and others we meet just when they want to meet. And sometimes we'll do homework problems together or just chat and catch up. I know it's been really helpful. It's been really nice for me to connect with new people right now because we're online. A lot of my classes are virtual right now. And so it's a really cool opportunity for me to meet new people. And I know that my mentees appreciate just getting time to meet and talk with someone who's been there before. So that's a big part of our program that we're growing and developing. But overall, as student ambassadors, we're just here to make sure that you all have, again, the resources that you need. So whether that's tutoring help, advising help that comes from a student, just a place to study, like a quiet place to study on campus, or a friend to talk to. Those are some of the things that we offer.
Thank you so much, Kayla. Claire, do you want to add anything to that, since you're new and getting the hang of this?
Yeah, I would be happy to. Especially like Kayla was saying about the mentor program, I would highly encourage anybody to get involved with that. I was a mentee last year as a first year, and it was definitely like one of the best parts of my year. I was paired with Teresa Santola, who is another ambassador who is not on this call, but who is so amazing. And yeah, kind of like what Kayla was saying, just having somebody to do homework with, to talk about classes with, kind of that support system was so beneficial. And I think especially as a first year, kind of seeing somebody in your major who's not like made it out the other side, but has like made it a little farther along, has gotten through, is so nice to see, because kind of reminds you, okay, you can get through this. It was just one bad test. You're going to be okay. And it was so fun. I mean, every week we would go and get coffee at the student center and just talk about life and school. So anybody who is even the littlest bit interested for doing that next year, I highly, highly recommend getting involved with that.
Thank you, Claire. I appreciate that. So Dr. Carlson, would you like to say anything? I know you kind of went into this in your introduction, but would you like to say anything else about specifically environmental?
Yeah, I would. As Chuck said, and I think, we have two programs. We have an environmental engineering undergraduate program and a civil engineering undergraduate program, but a lot of the classes are similar or the same. So the first few years you're taking classes that the civil engineers take. They start deviating. Well, I mean, the freshman year, we do have the environmental section broken out. So you can get a feel for us, faculty, and I focus on what problems and why you might want to be an environmental engineer or why you might not. But later, as Chuck said, we have some environmental specific courses. We have an air quality course. We have several water quality type courses. We have unit process classes for environmental engineers. And but a lot of when you do the senior designer capstone, you're working with civil engineering groups. Normally, if we were in class, which if it's a normal semester, we'd be doing projects but you'd be doing a project at the freshman level with the civil engineers. So I wanted to emphasize that we're not as divided as it might seem, and there is a lot of overlap, but you can specialize. Both undergraduate programs have a wide variation in what you might do when you graduate. So if there's any questions on that, I'm glad to answer.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I was thinking of asking a question to all of our potential students here, and really just trying to find out exactly, why you're interested in civil, why you're interested in environmental engineering, maybe kind of what you want to know about each of those majors while you're trying to kind of decide. I created it's called a Jamboard, and I just put it in the chat. And what you can do is click on that, and it will pull up this board that you can actually write on. So if anyone wants to ask a question and take off your mute and actually ask the question, that's great. If you would like to just go to the Jamboard, you can write your question, or maybe what interests you specifically, and we can give some more direction on that. And I'll go ahead and share my screen so that everyone can see what. Can you guys see that Jamboard screen? Yeah, okay. So if you go over here, you can click on the sticky notes and you can type, you know, something that specifically interests you or questions that you have. It looks like Jenna did ask a question. What specific specialization / field do the majority of department graduates go into?
So I could provide some background on that, Shannon.
Okay.
So like Ken was just saying, when you go through your curriculum, you'll have first 2 years, you have some of the background basic courses, chemistry, physics, math, calculus. And then we have a few courses in the major. And then those are common courses in the first 2 years. Although, as Ken said, in our freshman class, we have the same course, but we split out 2 sections, one for civil and one for environmental. And then as you get towards your end of your junior year and your senior year, you have elective courses that you can take, and a certain number of credit hours. And those courses allow you to specialize in what we call subdisciplines. And in the civil engineering, there's a lot of subdisciplines. There's structural engineering, there's hydraulics, hydrology, water resources, you know, and so forth. There's a bunch of different geotechnical engineering, groundwater engineering. And so you can take elective courses that will give you a little bit of a specialization in those majors. And so really what you, and those are courses that, you know, after you've been through 2.5 or 3 years of the curriculum, you get an idea of what you think, a better idea maybe of what you think you want to do and what kind of elective courses you want to take. And so our graduates are, you know, and then you have the environmental engineering, and there's subspecializations in the environmental engineering area as well. And so, you know, what you take as courses kind of, you know, kind of sets you up for different jobs after you graduate, not that you can't change. And a lot of our graduates, our history in our department is extremely strong nationally and internationally in the water area. It's got to do with our location and the westward migration of the population and the scarcity of water as a resource in the Western US. So both in terms of amount of water and the quality of the water, we have a lot of expertise in those areas. And I'd say, you know, a large percentage of our undergrads really kind of go into a lot of the water areas and companies or state, federal, local municipalities along the Front Range here that deal with a wide variety of issues, but a lot of them are water related as well. Now we do have people that get jobs in structural engineering and so forth. So it kind of, to answer that question, kind of a little bit of background, but it kind of varies across the board. But we do have a lot of people going into hydraulics, hydrology, water resources, and those types, and also on the environmental side and water quality, which is obviously is an issue. 2 areas that I do senior exit interviews for graduating seniors, and 2 areas that pop up is there's apparently a lot of our grads go into land development, and then we have some grads that go into, even though we don't have a formal construction engineering degree, our students do get hired by construction engineering and management companies, large companies. Pay for those is usually higher than some of the other areas. There's a lot of field work involved.
Shannon, I can help you make that viewable or editable real quick. Go click the back button and then click on change at the very bottom. And then on the right, see where it says viewer, change that drop down to editor. And now save it, click done. And if everyone refreshes, you should be able to now add to the Jamboard. And there is another question in the chat as well, though, in the meantime.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I actually can't see the chat, Rachel.
Oh, I'm happy to share that question. So Lindsay
Yes.
asked, since the courses are so similar, would it be easy to switch from an environmental engineering degree to a civil engineering degree in your sophomore or your junior year?
Yeah, I can answer that. Yes, and probably without losing any time at all, because we wouldn't make you take like I said, the environmental section is broken out as a freshman, but we would see the civil side, the civil section is equivalent. And then as Chuck said, you're taking math, physics, and then you're taking some common courses within civil and environmental, that really all engineering is taking to some extent. And that includes like a course called statics, a course called dynamics, fluid mechanics. And so these are common to both. And you really don't start specializing until your junior year. So, and the other thing is, and that's one of the things I think we promote, is that this is not a lifelong decision, you know, that you're making in August of this year if you come in this fall. There, you know, because you don't know what you might want to do, and that's part of the freshman class, is to help the student understand, do they want to do civil engineering? Do they want to do environmental engineering? Maybe they don't want to do engineering, or maybe mechanical engineering. So this is what we feel the process you need to go through in the first year, and maybe even two between environmental and civil. And just one more thing, in practice, the reason the department's set up this way is because in practice, a lot of our students go work for consulting firms, engineering consulting firms, engineering design firms, and you're working with civil. If you're an environmental engineer, you're working with the structural engineers, you're working with the civil engineers, and so it's very important to have this, at least some of the common background.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. How do professors in the department help students succeed? Dr. Carlson, Dr. Shackelford, either of you?
Well, let me chime in. I think there's not just only professors, but there's a lot of resources to help students succeed. Our student ambassadors who are on this Zoom meeting are there to help students succeed. We have, you know, our undergrad, Sharon, and we have another part-time undergraduate advisor, Lori Alburn. You know, they're there to help you succeed. There are vast amount of resources on campus, you know, that will provide assistance with courses, specific courses. College has resources, and then of course your instructors in your classes. You know, I mean, part of their job is to, you know, hopefully help the students succeed in each individual class. So there's a lot of capability on campus to help students succeed. And I think the issue that we see, particularly in the first or second year, is not that there aren't a lot of resources to help students succeed. It's that students don't seek out the resources to help them succeed. And I think, you know, the opportunity there is to get basically as much help as you need to be successful. But again, you know, I mean, people aren't going to necessarily come to your dorm room and knock on your door and ask you if you need help. You're going to have to seek it out, you know. And so, yeah, I think not just professors, but there's a lot of assistance on campus. And we would hope that students would take advantage of that and come to us when they need to, for whatever help they need.
Thank you. Yeah, I have definitely found that professors specifically are very helpful in the last year, that things have kind of changed and been moved around. I know a lot of our professors have been accommodating to students, and as everyone is just trying to kind of work through this whole global pandemic and the changes that we've faced. And as Dr. Shackelford said, we do have a lot of resources on campus. I am pretty much the contact person, point person, I guess you would say, if, you know, things were to come up, to reach out to, but also, like Dr. Shackelford said, everywhere on campus, there's a ton of different resources. Lots of great questions. Thank you guys so much for putting these in here. What kind of jobs are typical, I guess, with a civil and environmental engineering degree? Kayla, maybe you want to answer this. You've kind of been close to, well, you're close to graduating, and so you're looking out there. What's out there?
Yeah, sure. I can give it a stab. Then if anyone has anything that they want to add or change, feel free. So in my experience, I personally think civil and environmental engineering is really broad. So you get you can kind of go a lot of places with jobs. I actually just got a job lined up for after college, which is very exciting. And I'll be working at a consulting firm. And so there's a lot of engineering consulting firms that will be hired out for projects, usually funded by like cities or states, governments, things like that. And so you can work at these firms and you'll be doing a lot of design work. So my job will be mostly behind a computer working in like Civil 3D and AutoCAD. So using these softwares to design roads and culverts, things like that. You can also, I know a lot of people go construction route too, especially from the civil side, but environmental too. You can go out and be more hands-on and in the field, inspecting things and overseeing new construction or checking in on existing structures. And so that's kind of private side. You can also work for governments. You can work for the state or the federal government, or you can work for a city and county. They all, like the city of Fort Collins hires engineers. And you can also do research. So a lot of, I guess I don't know as much about that, but I do know that there's, you can pursue careers in research, whether it's working with a university or otherwise. So I guess long story short, there's a lot of opportunity, and you can kind of tailor it. You can be, if you want to be behind the desk and doing design work, you can do that. If you want to be out in the field, getting your hands dirty, you can do that as well.
Yeah, I would echo that for environmental. A lot of what Kayla said is true. I see there's a question, is an environmental engineering career as hands-on as civil? I think it's what Kayla said. It's really what you're interested in. Environmental engineers are going to work with civil engineers and other engineers to design stuff. Let's say a wastewater treatment plant, or maybe a wind turbine, or something like that. Environmental engineers are embedded in most things we do nowadays. And going into the future, I tell students I don't think the environment is being fixed fast enough that they're not going to have opportunities in careers. So, but the consulting firms, definitely, state government, EPA, for example, federal government, private industry, something like Google hires environmental engineers. Other companies, you might not think so. Auto companies would certainly have environmental engineers to limit their environmental impact. And what we're looking at with our program is, what are the jobs going to be in the future? And so Chuck mentioned that we are and have been strong in water, but the CSU as a whole is very strong in air. And if that's something you're interested in particular with respect to climate change, we see that as an emerging area that you can get as much background in that as you want, particularly if you go on to do a graduate degree. So I think it's pretty similar between the two.
Thank you. That was great information. So I'm going to address are there any internship opportunities for civil and environmental engineering? We do have, there are a lot of opportunities for internships. We have a lot of students that do those over the summer, particularly. We have a listserv that once you are a student here, you can request to be added to. And when those internship opportunities and sometimes job opportunities are sent to our department, we send those out to the listserv. So they're available for our students. Well, the information, I guess, is available, and then how to apply and whatnot. We also have in the Walter Scott Junior College of Engineering, we have a great resource as far as internship and job opportunities go with Rachel. Actually, the Engineering Success Center has a lot of resources and information for finding internship opportunities. So there's definitely a lot of those to go around. It looks like a question for the students. What is your favorite thing about CSU in general?
I'll start. Oh, sorry.
You start, Kayla, and then I'll go.
Okay. really just like the community at CSU. Just the general feel of being on campus. When I toured CSU, it was just it was immediate, and I felt like I really could connect with the people around me. And so that's, I mean, overall, my favorite thing is just being around all these great people. I mean, the faculty are awesome. I've had some really awesome professors and taking classes that I've really enjoyed. And my peers in my classes are always so approachable and friendly, and just random people that you might bump into on campus. I mean, I've never had a bad experience. Everyone's just really kind and really friendly. And it just makes me feel very comfortable being here. And so that's probably my favorite thing. It's just such a good community.
I can go ahead and echo that too. I know it sounds so cheesy, right? You know, when people say their favorite part is the people at CSU, but I definitely think it's true. I have always felt super supported by my peers, by my professors, even Shannon, who is a killer advisor. Yeah, I mean, I think engineering can be kind of a scary major to decide on, right? You know, people say it's really hard. And it's difficult, but I think the community here is so strong that you always feel supported. And if you need help, there are resources, there are people to talk to, and you're never alone, no matter how hard, you know, your homework may be, or, you know, even if you feel that way. So yeah, highly recommend.
Thank you, both of you. I am a graduate of CSU. I was born and raised in Fort Collins, and one of my favorite things about CSU, although I'm no longer a student, but one of my favorite things is the community around campus. It's a bigger city, but it doesn't feel as big, I think, as it really is. And there's lots of places to go to feel supported and homey and comfortable. It's just a good overall community. I think one of our last questions here that we'll take is, are there clubs for civil engineers? And yes, there are several clubs for civil and environmental engineers. And actually, I hate to do this to you, Kayla, but would you mind, since you are a part of a couple, I think?
Yeah, I can definitely share. So there's definitely clubs for civil and for environmental engineering students. So some clubs that are specific to civil, there's the American Society of Civil Engineers, which has a chapter at CSU. And so they'll have weekly meeting, or I don't think they meet weekly, but they have meetings where they'll bring in professionals from the industry who might give talks about, you know, what it's like to be in the industry, the transition from college to career, or other things like that. So they have those opportunities, and then they also do competitions. So they compete in the concrete canoe competition every year, which is exactly what it sounds like. They design and build a concrete canoe, and then it has to float, and then they race it. So that's a big thing that you can get involved with even as a first-year student, because they need help, especially on casting day when they have to mix and pour and set all of the concrete. That's a huge effort that they need help with. There's also Steel Bridge team, which competes in a similar manner. So every year they have certain design criteria and they have to build a bridge. And they also look for help in first, second, third year students because they need a lot of hands on deck to build this bridge. And so those are two great opportunities that also kind of double as, you know, projects, things that are hands-on that you can do. We also have an environmental engineering society, and I don't know as much about them and what they do, but I do know that they're fairly active on campus, and they have some really cool, more environmental opportunities. And the last thing that I'll talk about is the Rams Without Borders student org, which is our section of Engineers Without Borders. And so they currently have a couple projects that they're working on. I believe one of them is in Mexico, and another one might be.
I think it might be Peru.
Well,
Peru?
no,
Okay.
It's El Salvador. There's actually two projects in El Salvador, and there's one at a Indian reservation in South Dakota.
Right. Okay.
The
Yeah. So they have. Oh, go ahead, Ken. If
okay,
you want to talk about it.
Well, the Peru reference is maybe we have the freshman class working on a international competition, and it's a way to really focus the class on what civil and environmental engineers do. And so it's run out of the UK, Engineers Without Borders, and so both sections have multiple groups that are putting together a project, and this semester it's virtual, but you're getting a feel for what Engineers Without Borders does. And we find that to be a pretty valuable first year exercise.
Thank you. We also have SWE.
Yeah, there's a number of diversity organizations that are through the greater college, so that are open to all majors, STEM, engineering or otherwise. And so one of them that I'm a part of is SWE, which is the Society of Women Engineers. We also have SHIP, which is the Society of Hispanic, I don't remember what it stands for, Society of Hispanic Engineers, and NSBE, which is the National Society of Black Engineers, both which are really popular. And then there's a handful of others that I just can't remember their acronyms too, but a good amount of, oh, perfect, thanks, Rachel. Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers is SHIP. But we have a number of diversity organizations as well in the college.
Thank you. Okay, does anybody else have any? I really appreciate everyone's participation and adding these great questions, and for everyone that gave their answers. They were great. I think everyone learned a lot today. So I'm going to kind of wrap up and just ask if there's any final questions or anything anyone would like to share.
Shannon, I'll just say some final words. I hope to see everybody here in the fall, and of course we hope that the situation is back to as close to normal as possible. And hopefully over your 4 years here, it will be back to normal, because if it's not, it's even depressing to think about, right? So let's hope to see everybody here, and I think you'll find that you'll have a really fantastic experience here, and it'll pay off a lot in your overall career in your life.
Great. Yes, and Rachel just mentioned that if anyone needs assistance with the admissions process, you can reach out to her via email or phone, or text, sorry, that she put there in the chat, which is great information, and she's a great contact to have. So yeah, I guess with that, Dr. Shackelford, thank you for being here. Dr. Carlson, Claire, Kayla, Rachel, I appreciate you all being here and answering all of these student questions. And I would like to second that. I would love to see all of you here in the fall. I will be your advisor when you get here, and I will be more than happy to guide you and help you through your time here at CSU. So with that, I'm going to end the meeting. And again, thank you all for being here. And we will have our next session starts at 11. And Todd Adadero is going to do he's got some videos for the labs, so you can go and actually see the stuff that we get to do every day. So thank you again, and we'll see you in a couple minutes if you're in our next session.